Good to go. Great. Hi, everybody. It is 5:30 and we will call this Port of Olympia Commission meeting to order. I just want to extend our thanks to Mayor Fournier and the city of Tenino, the great city of Tenino, as John Callahan would say. We're excited to be here and we hope to continue to see more friendly faces from South County. As a reminder, the Port of Olympia serves all of Thurston County and we have many programs down here. So let's move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Dowling, could you please give us the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please join me in saluting our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion or amendments?
I move to, I'd like to make a motion to move item 2 on the consent calendar, Juris Washington, to acting with the calendar so that we can have those space.
Okay, so 1A2 moving to I1.
Correct.
Okay, it's been moved to move 1A2 and Juris Washington to action other calendar item I1. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Downing, discussion?
Thank you. Typically, consent calendar, we don't discuss, we just vote. So I was going to have a discussion on the side. That's why I like to put it under that.
Okay, and Commissioner Isle, any discussion?
No discussion.
It's been moved and seconded to move item 1A2 off of the consent calendar to item I1, Juris Washington. All those in favor, please signify by saying
Aye.
I
aye. Opposed, motion carries. Any additional amendments to the agenda? Is there a motion to approve the amended agenda?
I move to approve the amended agenda.
second.
Is there any discussion? It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Great, we have an agenda. And Executive Director Rudolph, Executive Director report.
We hosted and celebrated the 10-year Sister Marina agreement with Shinichi Nomiya Yacht Harbor of Hyogo Prefecture, Japan, and the Swanton Marina in both. This was part of Hyogo Prefecture, Japan, and the state of Washington's 60th sister state anniversary. The port hosted the WPPA 2023 Compass Award ceremony for Representative Andrew Farkas. This award recognizes legislators who provide extraordinary leadership and unparalleled vision in advancing the importance and future of public ports for the communities they serve. Representative Farkas was recognized for his support of transportation needs uniquely affecting ports, among other accomplishments. Thank you, Commissioner Isle, for speaking at the event. Next slide, please. All right, port staff attended the Washington Public Ports Association Environmental Conference and included a tour of the cleanup sites at the Port of Tacoma. The tour focused heavily on their environmental stewardship and advancements with the operations. The conference sessions included changes to the Growth Management Act, resources for ports, and clean energy. And as new team members come on board, we continue to rebuild relationships with community groups that need and want our involvement. Port is re-engaging with the Chamber's Business and Economic Development Committee and attended the latest meeting. And Experience Olympia and Beyond hosted a media training seminar of community partners and leaders who engage with the media. We also sent representatives to that event. And that concludes my executive director report.
Great. Any questions, commissioners, or comments?
No, I don't have any questions. Great job, Rudy.
Thank you, good report, Rudy.
I'm excited to see us reaching out to our other community stakeholders and really appreciate your efforts in that regard.
Team effort.
Go team. We will now move on to public comment. As a reminder, our guidelines for public comment can be found in our commission rules resolution. And our limits to 3 minutes. Is there anyone on Zoom who would like to give public comment?
No raised hands right now.
Anyone in the millions of people in the audience?
Point of information,
Yes.
how many people do we have on Zoom for this meeting?
7.
And you-
All right, we will move on to the consent calendar, which as a reminder, does not include Indorus, Washington. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I move to approve the consent calendar with the exception of number A2, Honduras, Washington.
Is there a second?
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar, not including item A2, Honduras, Washington. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Great. Executive Director Rudolph, any issues of business, capital Lily,
No updates, further updates this evening.
just for those online, there's no further updates on that item. And we will move on to our action calendar, our friend Todd Tutts from the Olympia Downtown Alliance. Thank you for joining us to talk about the benefits. And if you can just cue when you need to change slides, we don't have to click for you today.
Doing this a sec.
If anyone is having any issues hearing that, will you please raise your hand? Or are you able to hear, were you able to hear, Executive Director Rudolph as well as the commissioners? If not, raise your hand. Okay. If you are having a hard time hearing, please do let us know as we are in the new room, but, Todd, if you wanted to speak in the microphone. Thank you.
Give me just a second. I'll have your presentation up in just a moment.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the commission. Thanks for having me again. So what was in front of me recently to discuss the Downtown Improvement District. I'm Todd Cutts, Executive Director of the Olympia Downtown Alliance. I had Matt Gordon Thomas with me last time around. They're not here today, but they send their regards. They couldn't be here. As we get into it, I have a really brief presentation for you this evening. And essentially, it's just a summary and a reminder of what we talked about last time at a high level. You can see at the end of the show, we are requesting a motion and action, an authorization to sign decisions related to for the Downtown Improvement District. So, by way of reminder, what is a DID, a Downtown Improvement District? It's really just a finance mechanism, provides revenue for downtown services that enhance, they don't replace existing municipal services. So we're working closely with the city on this. Self-initiated by property owners. We had a steering committee we talked about last time around with downtown property owners who are leading this charge. Essentially, I am kind of executive on loan to the Downtown Improvement District Steering Committee from the Olympia Downtown Alliance Board of Directors. It's supported by private sector property owners. And you know, sort of the bottom line is we're trying to make our business be more competitive, provided a market environment downtown. Slide. Go back. So there.
Sorry, it's sensitive.
Sensitive. Sorry. So there is that steering committee. So again, if I were to remind you, we've got small businesses, we've got medium-sized businesses as a war in downtown Olympia, we've got downtown developers, we've got public sector representatives, in particular, also like I mentioned, Councilmember Lisa partially, economic development director, Mike Reed, we have representation from the office of superintendent of public instruction as well.
Can we pause for just a quick moment here?
One second, it's, I do like how there's two Mike Reeds, in the one bill, isn't that weird? Two people with the exact same name.
I tried to, that was my question, it is in fact two different people.
It is.
Okay.
We tried to find a third, but.
And they both work in downtown Olympia.
Thank you. We're good to go. Thank you.
Slide. So we talked during last night's presentation about the steps that we've been through, and we've been working on this since 2019 through 2020. The pandemic kind of paused this effort, we'll pick it back up. So here's where we are today. So we are out with our petition, right? We launched that on August 14th. We are planning to have a similar conversation with the Olympia City Council tomorrow night at their council meeting. We're requesting the same action from them. We then have been to the City Council's Finance Committee meeting, and they have voted unanimously to recommend support and authorization for the city manager to sign the petitions on behalf of the city at tomorrow night's meeting. So then, if successful with that petition drive, and I'll remind you that we need property owners representing 60% of the total assessments to sign their petitions. If we get 60% plus, we will take and submit those petitions to the city. We will then verify, validate those petitions, and then the city council will start their process to approve an ordinance to stand up the downtown improvement district. And then, timeline gets a little looser at that point. So downtown improvement district building and operations that's the first quarter of 2024, and we'll be able to through some of those details right now in 6 staff. So what are the objectives of the DID? Providing that advocacy leadership services just to improve the downtown experience, quality of life, really focusing on cleanliness and safety downtown, supporting that safe and welcoming environment, activating beautifying public spaces, advancing economic development, supporting small businesses downtown, attracting investment, enhancing property values. And this model also offers accountability to those ratepayers, property owners, through the management governance structure of the downtown. Here are our boundaries, which you kind of you're missing on the screen up there. Is the top left is the key. So just a reminder that the purple is considered the downtown core. That downtown core is paying twice as much in terms of assessment and needing a commensurate level of service, with the green, which is the non-core area. And here's the budget. So 75% of the budget going towards clean, safe, and beautification services downtown, assisting small businesses, more flexibility there for programming like special events, placemaking projects, small business assistance. There is management and administration of the district, which would be provided by the Olympia Downtown Alliance. And then we do have within the operation plan the goal of 2.5% of reserves of the operational budget being put in reserve each year. The goal of 25% being passed over time. So I do allow. I'm happy to take any questions you might have, and I have background slides as well.
Great. Any questions, commissioners?
Go to the minute.
Thanks for
Just, I guess one question, how are the fees collected again from participants?
so through the city, so there'll be invoiced twice a year through the city. It is the city's responsibility to bill and collect. And through a service agreement with the Olympia Downtown Alliance, we would then sort of
No.
Hi, Todd, thanks for coming and presenting. Two questions. So would that be billing in advance or billing? So in other words, you mentioned the city will send out an invoice twice a year. So is that January 1 and July 1? Let's say. And December 31st.
Sure, don't quite have that worked out yet in terms of what those exact dates are, but I do anticipate when the district is stood up, we will bill and then bill 6 months after that.
Okay. And then the other question is, well, this is really exciting, and then once it gets underway, I presume there's going to be internal learning, but you're also going to learn from other EIDs that exist and have relationships with. So you anticipate, giving feedback and adjusting.
Absolutely. So really, the leadership of the board of directors of the downtown improvement district. And we'll be speaking with them, course correcting certainly throughout the year. One of the primary touchpoints they will have is the budget process. So, we'll have that conversation about what we should be budgeting towards and then submitting that. So,
How often does the board meet?
initially, we expect them to meet on a monthly basis, once we're up and running for a while. I know that there are some assessment districts that meet on a quarterly basis.
Could you step up to the podium? So that's online.
Hey, Commissioner, just as a point of information, I want to point out the motion on the slide is the most updated one. We have to modify the language just a little bit over what was in the packet. So the motion on the slide is the correct proposed motion.
Great. Sorry, Todd, can you come back up, please? So is it fair to synthesize, looking at the steering committee, a lot of these people are people that own businesses and buildings downtown, and they're saying, we see a problem and we're willing to tax ourselves to be a part of the solution.
Assess themselves, yes. So,
Yes, we don't like the T word. It means something different. Assess means something different.
So, I think that question is in the eye of people, but certainly we do have some stakeholders downtown that feel that way. The way we talk about it often is that premium level of service that we keep bringing, the city bringing a base level of service, and we keep bringing that premium level of service.
And so the port being a large property owner downtown and trying to get to the 60% threshold, how do you see that playing with the partners that you already have?
Really importantly, we're having a similar conversation with the city in terms of their leadership on this issue, and understanding the importance of this. We certainly get asked questions about our public sector partners and where are they on this issue. So they're listening out there, and reacting.
I'll just make a comment to follow up on my question. I feel like leading the charge as far as investing in our downtown is going to continue to not only make our community better and more activated from a community service perspective, but it's also going to improve the value of our properties downtown. So, favorite term, mission and margin. I feel like investing in this program really does both mission and margin work. So, any additional questions?
I'll just make one quick comment that I think this is a great program too. I think that downtown Olympia has lost a lot of support from local residents, and a lot of folks actually moved away. And I encourage them to come back, and you can already see improvement downtown Olympia. And I think a program like this will just enhance that even more and make it better quicker.
I would entertain a motion, which is different than the one on the pack.
I move to authorize the interim executive director to sign a petition supporting the formation of the downtown improvement district and include $13,000 in the 2024 budget to comply with the proposed city ordinance.
I will second that.
Any discussion? It's been moved and seconded to authorize the interim executive director to sign the petition supporting the formation of the downtown improvement district and include $13,000 in the 2024 budget to comply with the proposed city ordinance. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Todd, for your work on this. We are moving to our actions other calendar, and we have George Washington. And Reaver also.
I am here to respond to Commissioner Downing movement on the agenda item as best I can.
Thank you.
So I'm standing at the ready.
Commissioner Downing, do you have some questions you'd like to talk about?
Yes. Thank you, fellow commissioners, for moving this action over so we could talk about it time yet. So just by way of background, I think it's important to, look backward and utilize historical perspective. I think historical perspective is so important, and part of it is that. These issues go back sometimes ways. I mean, I personally don't remember. Approving the contract between the Port Commission and Endurance, but that doesn't mean my memory is perfect. I've been on the commission 7.5 years, and so it's quite possible. But we'll say, by way of history, that we had some tough times years ago from the standpoint of lawsuits, people suing the port. There was an outfit called Waste Action Project that after the hydrogen peroxide spill in 2015, when our sewage, or not sewage, stormwater facility was offline for 2 or 3 years, Waste Action Project was not happy that we weren't meeting our benchmarks with the Department of Ecology. Waste Action Project found what I consider a loophole in the Environmental Protection Act that said that groups can sue an entity for compliance, even if the regulatory agencies locally have not taken that step. So we're in a situation where Department of Ecology was not ready and was understanding, and we were in the process of fixing the stormwater plant. Meanwhile, this Waste Action Project group out of Portland took it upon themselves to sue the port, and that was very expensive. So it could be that Endurance came on the scene at that time. Now, Endurance, this is a huge amount of money, and Rudy informed me today, because I asked the question, what is this $500,000 expense? And he said that's an annual fee. So we're paying $500,000 for insurance protection for a number of things. What the public may not know is that Endurance had a seat at the table, and the one that sticks in my craw is that Endurance has the wherewithal to put forth some of that $500,000 for a settlement of a lawsuit before it becomes a lawsuit, before it goes to court. And so on the surface, that sounds like a great idea, but sometimes I think an unfortunate side effect is that they pay parties to settle before we go to court, and whether or not their arguments of that party are well-founded or spurious. And so we'll never know, because people get paid, or entities get paid, before it becomes a lawsuit. So that's the situation. And so I bring this up because furthermore, Endurance is, it's kind of hidden in the budget. So I've looked at, several years worth of budgets, and we have a category called professional services. And that covers people like Endurance, people like this alliance, perhaps individual lawyers like Ryan Jones sitting at the end of the table, who's worth their nickel, by the way. Anyway, but so it's not really clear in the budget where this money goes towards. And so I think that we need more clarity, and I'd like to make a request that we look at the Endurance contract and review, because it's been a few years, we review what we're paying for and whether or not that meets supports needs at this time.
So I guess to turn that into a question, maybe, what is the process for the Endurance contracts that throughout the years, and can you comment on Commissioner Down's?
First of all, I'm not prepared to answer those specific questions this evening, because I didn't realize that was going to be the subject. I'm glad to compile that information. I do want to point out for clarity, the consent agenda items, which we normally talk about that are over 200,000 for Alliance and Endurance, and so the Alliance was for business unit specific liability insurance associated with the marine terminal, so that's a very specific piece. The Endurance payment that we just brought forward for commission approval was for the auto physical damage, general liability, property and crime coverage. So those are specifically itemized. With regard to moving forward, at each year in the annual budget under outside professional services, we do a breakdown of what that budget line item comes to, and we will put that together again this year for the board commission to review when we get to that piece in the budget presentation. So we have that information, and I'm glad to make sure that we provide it. So, and what would be helpful is the more questions you can give me specifically, which will answer, then we can get those answered for you.
So Commissioner Downing, we will be reviewing this issue as we're moving forward with the budget as it pertains to outside professional services. Is there additional information that you're seeking that's provided as far as what the contract says that we're being provided, or how that, I guess, do you have follow-up questions?
Well, yes, thank you, Weedy, for that information. So please refer back to September 6th, when I sent you an email about Endurance, and my questions are in there.
Gotcha.
And so those would be good background questions for us to consider Endurance.
So,
So those are already
okay,
communicated.
could you communicate the answers to those questions to the three commissioners so that we can see if we have any follow-up questions prior to the budget discussion? Do you have any other questions, Commissioner Allen?
Well, I think it's worth noting that insurance premiums across the board have been skyrocketing over the last few years. It might be worthwhile to know, and I didn't see your questions, Commissioner Downing, but it might be worthwhile to know what our premiums have done over the last, say, 5 years and how much they have increased. And, you know, I mean, there's no harm in chopping it, you know, if we feel like we might be able to at least get a better idea of what the market is.
And I don't have 100% assuredness on this, but I believe that Endurance is a pool insurance company that insures ports, you know, throughout the state. And so it's that collective pool that enables them to do the type of work that they do.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And I would just say from a former recovered attorney perspective, mitigating risk and, you know, avoiding going to trial is always preferred, given both the cost and the time necessary in going to trial. So unfortunately, that's the nature of the system, which I still think is better than any of the alternatives. But it is sometimes painful when you want to see that day in court, but you don't really.
Thank you, Rudy. That's great. And thank you, Commissioner Harding and Commissioner Al, for making me feel better. It's exactly that, when you have to, you know, pay out money to avoid courtroom time, and yet it feels very unjustified. That's part of my big beat. And the other beat is that, you know, Endurance alone, you ready for this, is 5.3% of our overall operating expenses. So that's a pretty big chunk for one line item, and I dare say it's probably the biggest line item in the budget in terms of expense.
And I do think it's important for the public to understand that Endurance does have a seat at the table, and as part of our risk mitigation, as we're reaching settlements to potential legal issues. So
But Commissioners, also, since we moved that item from consent, I'm requesting that be moved as a motion so that we can approve and make that payment.
Understood. So you're gonna follow up on the questions, which are separate from the motion, and then the motion would just be that dollar amount being paid is the motion that you need, the 572.33.
That's correct, yes.
And we will need to take public comment, so just reminding this. Is there a motion on the floor?
Yes, sir. I move to approve the bills and voucher payment to Endurance Washington of $572,933.
I'll second.
Any discussion? It's been moved and seconded to issue the bills and vouchers payment to Endurance Washington for $572,933. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Nice.
Sorry, public comment first. Is there any public comment before we take the vote?
I don't see any.
Any public comment in the audience? Okay, sorry, try that again. All those in favor of approving the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. Advisory calendar, budget process overview and schedule, Danny Hitt, senior financial analyst and budget officer. Hi, Danny.
Yeah.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Danny Harris, the financial analyst and budget officer. Here to present the 2024 budget and capital investment plan timeline and cost. Next slide, please. Okay, so that's the commission plan. This is just advisory regarding 2024 budget. So next slide. So here are today, October 25th. The budget process will be scheduled. And the commission meeting will be on October 2nd. The capital investment plan put on by James Sommer. Followed by the non-operating capital reviews and community events presented by myself and Emily. Followed by the draft operation budget first review. And the second review. November 6th is the budget adjustments and final review as needed. The 15th would be the budget presentation of the hearing. November 20th is the one that had 15 year final adjustments. And finally, we vote the 22nd for the budget adoption and resolution. The first sector, October 2nd, the non-operating budget review, tax revenues, and community events. And I am happy to take any questions. For the listeners, we have questions.
I'm just excited.
Mr. Johnny, do you have any questions?
Yes, two. My name, one question is, which particular meeting do we come to the commission and talk about commission expenditures, specifically the breakdown of the 7 million or so tax levy that the board collects, how that gets broken down?
I believe that would be primarily non-operating and tax revenues community events. Probably the most familiar. Of course,
If you back up the slide and schedule it.
I'm sorry, call me again.
October 9th, non-operating tax revenues and community events.
Oh, okay. And then, when do we actually, what meeting do you actually discuss the size of the tax levy?
It would be at that. October 9th.
See,
Great, thanks, Danny. We look forward to working on this. Perfect. Communication plans, Kimberly, communications and marketing senior manager. Hello, Tabor.
Hello. Oh, wait a second.
We're very excited about our communication strategy. This is something that the commission has been looking forward to for a while. And you just came along. Creative one.
Just creating one. I'm excited to share this with you. So thank you for letting me have the opportunity to share my thoughts. And invite you with the plan for next week. Yeah, for next year. As you mentioned, my name is Tabor Lee, Communications Marketing and Senior Manager here at Ordo Olympia, 3 months ago. I'll be presenting on communication strategy for next year, 2024. Next slide.
Yeah.
That was it. No.
You have
Okay.
a hard copy if you need.
No, it advanced.
Oh, good.
It's perfect. So the objective, why we're here to develop and launch a refresh communication effort in 2024 to renew the community's understanding of the board, its role, its fulfilling its mission, and benefit of the community is served based on recommendations and experience. As you may know, from August of 2022 through June of 2023, Mojo Strategies was contracted to support the board's communication workload needs, restructuring, challenges, and opportunities, and providing recommendations as part of an overall commission approved initiative for the Port of Olympia strategic plan. It's worth noting that in August 2022, Mojo Strategy began assisting the board's communication program as well. And in December of 2022, due to the significant communication requirements at that time, the commission approved an extended contract with Mojo Strategies. So the recommendation report has been evaluated and leveraged to provide a high-level overview communication effort moving forward. Next slide. Okay, perfect. So the communication and marketing strategy background and overview. So Mojo Strategies, as I just said, from 2022 to 23, provided an analysis, produced a report to help the communications team hit the ground running. The following assessments were conducted to deliver an observation and recommendation report. And those were, as you see, the 5 bullets: communication, marketing, outreach, workloads, 7 staff research interviews, social media audit, analysis and revisions for previous communication positions, and various observations. Next slide. The observations that came from the deliverable of the June 2023 report. As you can see with these bullets, the first observation is community relations is a smart method. So although we've connected successfully throughout this past year with various community events, the port's relationship with greater Jersey County community is often fraught with misunderstanding. Media relations can improve. We need to be proactive and reach out to the media and see the conditions arise and be a little more responsive. Another observation was that communication positions roles currently work at maximum levels. This is from 2022 to 2023. It was said in the report that the marketing outreach coordinator at that time was averaging, to be successful in that position, would average 105 hours per week to be successful and figure out the tasks. Next slide. And these were the recommendations that came from this report. Position the port as a trusted source of information, great opportunities for meaningful engagement, build better media relations to assure taxpayers are accurately informed, and ensure the port team have a shared understanding of communication priorities. Those are the recommendations. But we see challenges and opportunities, or I'd like to say challenges for opportunities. Where there are challenges or opportunities, and the Port of Olympia has the opportunity today to be that valued economic community asset. It was built to do for their model. So again, these were identified in the report as challenges. Our reputation. We have to, obviously there's a lot when it comes to that. You can really unbox it, but the port's brand has been fragile, and we need to take a lot of strides to repair those relationships and regain that community trust. Relationships, they're key. They're key to really the communication survival for the Port of Olympia. We're putting that as a top priority. The frequency, we need to focus on keeping everyone in the loop. We need to find channels so we're on the same page, both internally and externally. Diversity, we need to look beyond the relationships good organizations that we're touching today, and we need to look. Just like we're here tonight, this is a great effort, for your team to come out to tonight. And clarity, we always need to be clear, concise, through transparency and consistency. We need to find out rhythm for shared information. So again, those were challenges, and we're going to address a lot of those challenges. So this is the fun part, the goal, right? Where we're going, 2024. This is the plan. Really to increase the community's understanding of the role, the value, and limitation of the port in impacting the local economy, environment, and greater Christian community. And we're going to do this by rebuilding relationships and humanizing the port with consistent communication that breeds reputational confidence through visual, written, and in-person outreach. Really want to focus on rebuilding relationships. Again, this was based off of a report for a whole year of vacancy. We need to rebuild them, we need to repatch them, and then we need to build new relationships, as I talked about on the slide before. And humanizing, right? Humanizing. Some may be familiar with it, some may not be, but we need to take that approach more than ever. Humanizing the port really means adopting more relatable and personable communication style when interacting. In an effort to cultivate the brand's personality and value through establishing meaningful connections. Really let that sit in, because that is our new approach. We're going to start letting folks be a little more transparent, more than ever. But just before we get started, this is fine, keep it on this slide. The Ports Communication Marketing team right now is in a great position to do this. Not only myself, but our marketing coordinator and director of strategic initiatives and commission affairs. I mentioned the three of us because we're set up as a department. We're set up as a communications department, and we all own portions of that, but we're truly set up for success because it promotes connectivity, our department now, collaboration, and supportive production across neighborhood and strategic projects. And that's key to understand that we have a team, not just an individual. So again, where we're going, right? We're going to build collaborative bridges, not just working on relationships and rebuilding relationships, but we want these relationships to work for us. And we want to work for others. Key is collaborative. The frequency, we need to identify, outline, and improve our channels to better serve our local and diverse audiences. We need to be consistent more than ever. We need to share our business units equally. Business units equally, not just the marine terminal, not just Swantown Marina. We need to lift our real estate division up more than ever. We need to talk more about the airport and what's happening with the airport. So equally, and that has to be done with a mission vision for this. In diversity, I keep mentioning diversity, but it's key. It's key to our success. We need to expand our content, broaden our partners, and discover platforms to reach a more diverse and inclusive community. And that's our goal, that's our plan. We got to be transparent. Information with real personality and real tone to build these trusted relationships that we want. So that humanization that we talked about earlier. And then clarity. We all want clarity in life, especially here in the communications team. For Port of Olympia, we want to align internally, our vision internally, for a clear understanding externally. So if we don't know what's going on internally, we're not connected. It's going to be very difficult to talk externally. We're going to win with the economy, environment, and community, and that's truly going to be the key to enhance the community's understanding of the Port Valley. That's why. So this is the fun part, right? We're going to flip the script here. We're going to flip the script here at Port of Olympia, and we're going to talk about conducting a full branding and marketing material audit. And I find that's extremely necessary. And this is to create continuity and consistency across each piece of material, platform, and channels to ensure our mission and vision is aligned with our daily operations and strategic goals. We're going to do this by evaluating the past and previous and current marketing material to ensure the why, the use case, the reasoning, who's the audience. We need to do this. It's been a while since we looked at the marketing material. We need to implement that new tone that we just talked about, the humanization of the port, because we need to be more relatable. And we need to highlight our mission, vision, and goals in every single thing we do. It needs to tie back to that. And then the good old question that a lot of us hear all the time, the most basic question, who and what is Port of Olympia? We need to just bring it back to the basics. And we need to question that and share that answer and constantly share that information. Slide. We're still flipping the script. We're not done. There's a few more. I'll go through these a little bit quicker, but it was spoken, but it was a recommendation and sharing that we're going to focus on it. We're going to build those better media and community relationships to ensure that taxpayers are accurately informed. It's time we stay consistent. It's top of mind. Be proactive. We're making good strides in doing that already today. We do need to position the court as a trusted source of information. Really what this means is we need to be the first and the best source of information about the court. And that is our goal, and that's our goal. We need to create the opportunities for meaningful engagement. This was a great opportunity. We didn't get the turnout that we wanted today, but if we did, this would have been the greatest opportunity to create that engagement. And really, in all we do, we just need to be stewards of this amazing organization and share that meaningful work that's being done. And then honestly, we need to ensure the staff leaders have a shared understanding of communication. We need to break down the silos internally, create connected and collaborative teams, and build proper platforms to share projects, challenges, and wins across all 4 business units. We love to win, right? Everyone does, and we're winning today for tomorrow's success. So here's a little bit of a highlight, just in these short 3 months that this marketing team has come together and made quite a bit of efforts and strides. We often joke and say we're shot out of a fire hose, and that's the reality, right? But really, we talked about it as well. That's the way we win, and that's the best way to learn, so we can navigate through this awesome organization. And I'm honestly the most proud of the first bullet, building within the new people, the new process, and the new tools that has already connected us and create some efficiencies within the organization. Definitely not going to go through all of them, but you can kind of see social media. We've got a really good uptick with that, and we're moving, and you can kind of see some of these priorities and where our focuses have been. And really, the last bullet, prioritizing community and outreach engagement. Next slide is going to show what we've been up to. We've been up to a lot, as you can see, from July, August, not even all of September. The outreach and community engagement for just this small little marketing communications team. We've conducted over 30 community events, and outreach efforts. 30. That's 1 every 3 days. So, wow. Yeah, let's sit on that for a second. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these. Here's just a list of some. It's good to look at them. It's good to see what we've been up to. I would like to call out, I've already spoke to a few of them in the executive director's report, but I do want to thank the commissioners for the ones that attended. The Sister Marina was a great event. The 10th anniversary Sister Marina acknowledgement ceremony with the Idaho State Prefecture. Commissioner Harden did an outstanding job. And Commissioner Downey, outstanding. The hosting of the WPPA award ceremony, awarding representatives of ARC as well as contributions. Commissioner Ayala, thanks again for your time and willingness to speak at that event. And we had a great opportunity to tour the Tumwater Port properties with the Tumwater City Council to inform, share, and connect all that's happening with the real estate division. That was a big deal. It's a great turnout, and the commissioners again that were able to attend. Appreciate your time. So I say all this, and there's a sense of newness, right? There's kind of this new wave that we're starting to feel. I know 3 months in, we're seeing it. There's a lot of newness happening, and there's a lot of newness on the horizon. And so we really want to kind of start branding this internally and say it is this wave at the Port of Olympia. We're bringing a tide of change, new faces, energy, diversity, culture, process, tone, and more. It's real. So honestly, building, yep. You got ahead of me, I was rolling. Okay. Building those cyber bridges while fundraising support is truly going to be the key to success. And we're going to leverage those strategies and recommendations that were brought. Look at the new communications department structure that I spoke about, the additional faces and roles, and ensure the imperative that we need to connect and share our successes with tribes, stakeholders, organization groups, community members to drive our mission forward. Our mission is to driven forward on a daily basis. That's all we do. And we're going to focus on these efforts. Yep. And this is, again, with the new way that we're talking about, this is the newness that it's happening and it is on the horizon. And we're excited. We're expanding to 5 commissioners. We all know that's a new way. The leadership transition that's already occurring and happening, the new employees, the additional improved processes and tools that have just been implemented since my short 3 months here. even more community events and involvement next year we have planned. And this one I'm excited for, multiple for representation and the system community, not just myself, not just me, not just the commissioner. More, we need more ambassadors. So we're gonna have that. Strategic initiative momentum is true, it's real, it's happening. And we're gonna rebuild all of it, and it's happening as well. Friendly reminder, right? Our mission, our vision and goals. At the end of the day, no matter what we say or what we do, or what plan we put together, how it all shakes out in the end, as long as we lead with these core values and tie them back to our projects and initiatives on a daily basis, especially our strategic plan 2025 and our mission 2050, we're 100% headed in the right direction. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was not great, but it was important.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid too, so.
Yeah, flip away, flip away.
Any questions or comments, commissioners?
I thought it was a great presentation, Tabor. I appreciate it very much. I had a couple of things I wanted to just say, because I think back on slide 8, when you were talking about building up the staff and supporting staff and that, and how important that is to improve culture. You know, that the culture of the organization was actually the #1 initiative of the commission when we put together our strategic planning, and so I appreciate you pointing that out. And then also diversity. You know, I don't think we celebrate that enough sometimes. I think we need to just take stock of what we have and who all is doing it. We all come from different backgrounds, and I think that's a really important thing to impress upon everyone. And then on slide 10, when you mentioned ensure staff leaders have a shared understanding of communication priorities. Again, that's hugely important to make sure everybody's on the same page and having that same message to put out there. And great job, thanks. And
I really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. I agree.
No, any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'm fired up.
That's good.
I mean, that's a really good presentation paper, and you know, I encourage you to make your presence often before the commission, just to talk your talk and talk about what's happening, and talk about how we're, you know, changing the culture. I think it's all in a good direction. You know, compliment Commissioner Harding, because she's all about, you know, especially no offense, Commissioner Aguilar. Commissioner Harding is all about, you know, transparency and talking to the public and getting back to the public. And I know you are too. And you know, so I think that's a great direction for the board. It is something that I think you understand because it sounds like you've done your research along with this mojo strategies. Where were we, you know, with our communication outreach 12 months or 18 months ago, and where do we want to go today? So I think that's great. On slide 4, when you mentioned 105 hours, so I was perplexed about that. So in other words, do you feel like a full-blown communication and outreach program takes that many hours, or what does that mean?
Yeah, thanks for kind of holding that a little bit too. So remember that report was during a vacancy of some other positions, and it was hyper focused on the marketing and outreach coordinator position, because everything was being thrown on that plate at that time. And that's during that report, when they were looking at all these roles, that was the only role at that time. And so when they looked at what everything has to be done, all that's had to be done, the average of 105 hours per week in order to get that done, which is why you approved the contract with Mojo Strategies to help support during that time.
So essentially, she had to do 3 people's job.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's why I'm really excited, and that's why I called out that one portion later down in the presentation where we have 3 individuals now. To really divide and conquer, and we're in a really good spot, because we're not just 3 individuals working individually. We're 3 individuals working as a team with morning huddles. 15, 30-minute huddles every single morning, connected. We've never been more connected to the point of that.
Well, thanks, that sounds great, and I do love the metrics, come back to us with metrics, I think metrics are a good thing. To see that we're moving forward.
Absolutely.
So, I just can't say enough, so and it's great to have Camille here, and they're working, with you on her side of the equation. It's great to have Adelaide,
Yeah,
to be in the trenches, so to speak, and so, great to have.
Yeah, I'll just take it home. I feel like this was really responsive to a lot of the public feedback that we've been getting and very honest. And transparency requires us to be honest about where we're at so that we can figure out where we're going. And I feel like we really did that. There was call to action as to how we're gonna bridge some of those gaps and how we're gonna work for others. And I really liked how you said that, because that's why we're here. We're here to serve. And I would just say expand on not just taxpayers, but our whole county. We are supported by tax dollars, but we're here for the service of everyone, living here. And so I love what you have structured here. One thing, Commissioner Isle and I went to a commissioner conference, and one of the things that there was a presentation on improving transparency and just setting up the website so that we can have like links to direct information, and that's gonna require a technology lift. And that's something that isn't gonna happen overnight, but I think that would be really exciting if the public knew that the majority of things were at their fingertips. And even that's what we're striving for, because as a public agency, the large majority of the work that we're doing is open to the public to see. Obviously, we need to protect personal, we need to protect notification and things like that, but otherwise, if we can create that direct agreement, that could be really exciting. And in alignment with the meeting.
100%. We are making the strides, which is great. We're looking at the website for easy navigation.
Yeah,
Created that blog, we need more posts up there. But it's just, like you said, a lot of people do live digitally, right? And want to just grab access to media access. It's us, we're the ones also wanting to get that information out there. So we know what easy navigation is. We're gonna get there.
and I was just like, right now you have 3 commissioners, you're gonna have 5. We all have spheres of influence, and I feel like we've been underutilizing those. So Commissioner Downing's a sailor. Have Commissioner Downing take you to go talk to the sailors about our wetland project and their, what they think about it. Commissioner Al wears many hats as well, and so I think just humanizing the commission. And I recognize there's a level of formality in a public meeting and whatnot, but ways that we can do that with a little bit of levity, and then also just leveraging our networks. The reason that people get elected is because a majority of the community said, yeah, I want that person. So use it.
I'm in on that.
We're here for you, and we to Commissioner, I always point, we said culture was our #1, marketing and branding is wrapped up in some of that, so we want to invest financially, we want to invest our time. So great job, Taylor, and your enthusiasm is evident, so we're excited for the follow-up, where you tell us all the stuff you did. Well, you already did a lot.
I kind of did. It's sustainable.
The public, it's gonna take time, because we didn't get to this reputation is up and overnight. And we're not gonna rebuild some of that overnight either, so just giving yourself some grace there, but,
Appreciate that.
yeah, cool,
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Steve.
Now, is there any public comment on the advisory calendar?
Magdalene Sanders.
Magdalene Sanders, thank you for joining us. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, this is Maggie Sanders, and I just wanted to say that this is very enlightening and refreshing to hear that the communication team has worked so diligently hard to provide education and outreach to our communities, and providing a strategic tool to provide transparency in the port's business decision-making across the board. And I support the work that they did, and he did an amazing job. And I hope that that the commission follows through with his recommendations in regards to transparency, diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as the continued trust in our community as citizens of Thurston County. And so I just wanted to make it that comment that I really appreciate it. And it's very strategic and very transparent, and an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Magdalene. Appreciate your comment. Any other comment? And just so everyone's clear, we don't have the clock. Is it, are they?
I timed them.
So we are timing you, and but apologies that we don't have a technical clock, but I'll leave that yet. So
Deborah Patton.
Deborah Patton, thank you for joining us.
Hi, 42-year resident of unincorporated Thurston County, and I do really appreciate this last presentation. I have been a follower of the port for a few decades now, and I know full well that many citizens don't understand the role of the port. They don't understand the business lines. And so this communication plan, I think, will help address that. I appreciated the statement about outreach to the stakeholders, community groups, the tribes. I really appreciated the information about supporting the staff and improving the culture, and humanizing the commission. I mean, you guys are really just basically volunteers who just get like a travel stipend, you know, so the amount of work you do, I don't think the citizenry realizes that you're barely paid at all, and how many hours and dozens of meetings out in the community, the work sessions, the port meetings, and so on. So I thought that was a really good comment. And I do also agree with that idea of using your realm of influence. It's good to have representatives from different aspects or areas of interest in the community. And I see that in you three, and we'll see it when we add the 2 additional commissioners. So that's really good to use your realm of influence to educate the public. And anyway, I thought it was a stellar presentation. So thank you for it.
Thank you, Deb. Any additional public comment? Just a reminder that we really do appreciate your public comments. Moving on to Commissioner reports and discussion. Commissioner Hamilton, you want to start?
Sure. I just have a couple things to report. I did attend the South Thurston Economic Development Institute meeting. It was held at the newly reopened Rainier Pizza and Burgers. County Commissioner Gary Edwards and Sheriff Sanders spoke about the resolution to be included on the upcoming general election ballot for a public safety tax, resulting in an increase of sales tax of 0.2% to be decided to be dedicated, excuse me, to supporting public safety in the county. The owners of the Rainier Pizza and Burgers, they've renovated that building, and it's a very nice place to go if you're in Rainier to stop for a burger. Or we had breakfast there; it was really nice. Also attended the Chamber of Commerce in the great city of Tenino. Tenino, if you're not paying attention to Tenino, you better pay a little bit of attention, because this is the kind of a hot spot in the county right now. So Tenino was a great place to visit, and it's a great place to be. So the Chamber of Commerce meeting was held at the Sandstone Cafe. The guest speaker was Tenino School District Superintendent Clint Endicott, and he gave an update on the Tenino school system, which sounds like they're doing pretty darn good for a small school. So that's my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan.
Well, I did attend the Transportation and Policy Board meeting on September 13th. And one thing that was noteworthy is the chair, Mayor Ryder, brought forth a motion to have annual funding of bike trails, which typically the TPP for short promotes individual projects and then approves those projects and sends them to the PRPC for their approval. So I just want to make you aware. PRPC representative that could be coming forward, and I hope you'll advocate for, reliable, steady federal funding for bike trails.
Cool. Thank you. Just wanted to follow up, there's a couple of items with the agenda setting meetings, we had originally talked about having kind of a filter for how topics were brought to the commission, so that we can have some predictability. Executive Director Rudolph and I picked that back up, and I apologize for the gap, with some of the changes, I dropped the ball, so. We'll be bringing that to the next agenda setting meeting, so we can talk about it, and whether it's useful structure, or whether you have changes, it's just the first draft. And then we'll also be talking about response to public comment. Our legal counsel has been gracious enough to give us a starting point, to get that formalized, so that so that I'm not clumsily handling public comments, so that the public, as well as the commission, is clear on how that will be navigated, so that we can be transparent, for Tabor's presentation, and also run civil meetings, so. My quote of the day is, if it can be destroyed by the truth, it deserves to be destroyed by the truth. I'll say, and I think that before I thought about its relevance into our new way, not a tsunami, but just I think couldn't be more excited about the truth and transparency, and just the court's been doing a great job. It's really a communications, it's the way we're communicating. So letting everyone know the good work we're doing, and connecting it with the community. So Executive Director Rudolph.
I'm just,
Stretching.
wasn't aware it was up yet, I'm just gonna stand in that.
Okay, so we're not going there yet. So other business, are there any additional items for other business? Or items that you would like to be discussed in the agenda setting meeting that we can add to the list?
None for me.
One of the things that is just looking at the budget, and as far as our executive director search, and then the potential for looking at that job description and what that's gonna look like moving forward, getting more commissioner dialogue around that. And Executive Director Rudolph is working with Kaufman on that process. And I just wanted to let the public know that we will be reaching out to stakeholders. We want to ensure that our new leadership and the change in leadership here is going to really incorporate the feedback from the community. And that's all. So meeting announcements.
Oh, just to add on, Commissioner, before I get to the meeting now, what you said about Brockman, we have a meeting with them tomorrow. We're finalizing the administrative details to make sure the contract is signed, the most recent CAT order and scope update, confirming the cost that was presented, and then we get those details out of the way, we'll be launching full bore into the initiative and engaging the Port Commission on how we do the timeline and public engagement and stakeholder engagement.
And just for the benefit of the other commissioners, this is one of our sole duties, is the executive director is our direct report. Budget direct report of the executive director. So Rudy and I have been in close communication on us wanting to be really involved in the process on the front end. Because the more I learn about equity and also just opening our mind to hiring practices, you have to start at the very beginning. So ensuring that all of our shared voice is coming through in that process. In what we want to see, and also in what the community wants to see. So just so you guys know, we're not getting behind of that. Ruby's just getting the structure set up.
All right, so meeting announcements, I believe we sent an inquiry out to Port Commissioners. October 2nd was originally an agenda setting meeting, and I wanted to confirm that we might be able to do that in conjunction with one of the budget topics that we needed to do, and I believe there was one other one, and inquired us to the commission if we could do that as a work session at 2:30 in the afternoon. So we'll wait for you all to check calendars and back and see on that one. October the 9th.
So sorry, just to go back. You want to have a work session on October 2nd at 2:30?
Yes,
Okay.
that's Missy, did I get that right?
Okay.
Okay. that was the inquiry to Commissioner to check calendars and see if we could do that.
Okay.
October the 9th, regular commission meeting, at 5:30. Again, this, work session then on the 16th.
And sorry, just pause.
Sorry.
1 second.
Go ahead.
So, October 9th is Indigenous Peoples' Day, and that is not a formal court holiday. We've asked Commissioner Ayel, to give us some suggestions on how to honor that day, given that we will be having a meeting on that day. So thank you for whatever you want to do with that.
Now, I eagerly await Commissioner Isles' response and suggestion. So, and then the 16th, commission work session at 2:30, and then, the 17th is a POCAC meeting at 6 p.m. And that's enough of a meeting agenda for October for now.
Okay, any questions on that?
Questions?
It is 6:41 and this meeting of the Port Commission is adjourned.
Stop recording.
Everyone's excited about your communications.